Chapter 39, Judgment and the Unwise Old Man, from the First Book of Christ for Atheists, available on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Instagram at no charge, or you may purchase it from Amazon for $20. As I relate these stories, one thing sticks out. Judgment and planning, or lack thereof, played a big part in the predicaments that I got into. You'd think that by the time I was old, I would have learned to use better judgment. Au contraire, monsieur. Maintaining poor judgment, methodical thinking, or impulsive thinking, that is the question. You be the judge. From spot at 10, an old man, trial and ale at 69. I had gone to a microbrewery called Trial and Ale, with my brother-in-law, who was in town with his lovely wife. I don't understand how guys like us end up with such lovely wives. Unless you are my brother-in-law and myself, it is difficult to get into trouble when two well-worn old gentlemen simply go to a brewery to buy some beer to sip on in my garage while the gals went shopping. The reason we went to Trial and Ale was because with each bottle you buy, a portion goes to the ALS research. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, is a rare neurological disease that primarily affects the nerve cells, neurons, responsible for controlling voluntary muscle movement, those muscles we choose to move. Voluntary muscles produce movements like chewing, walking, and talking. A relative of ours had passed away due to this awful disease, as had her father. Karen was an angel, and it was a sad day when we had to say goodbye. The least we could do was support the research for a cure for ALS. I ordered a six-pack, as any civilized moderate person would do, but then the owner said that if I bought 12, he would put twice as much in for ALS research. Sold, I said. But, said the owner, if you double that, he would double the contribution. I said, you mean the more we buy, the more we can contribute? Yes, he said. Wow, give me a 24. With a big bag of ice on top of the beer, we had the beer at the right temperature by the time we got to the garage. My garage is my art room, where I keep treasures like license plate collection, framed pictures of the annual winners of the Shillelagh Jousting Championship, which we have every year on St. Patrick's Day, March the 17th. We have pictures of me and number one son on the West Coast Trail. It is a pleasant place where myself and brother-in-law John could enjoy a brewski or two, or three, or At about our second beer, it occurred to me that my old motorcycle helmet may not be as good as the salesman had made it out to be. 10 years earlier, I had bought it because I was told it was made with the usual string with airspace before the thick foam, but it also had a gel between the outside of the helmet and the foam. If you were to drop the helmet, the outside surface is a thin crust and would break, and the gel would run out, and the helmet would be ruined. The good news is that it offers much more protection than a conventional helmet. I bought it on that basis and paid a premium. My kids told me I looked like an idiot when I wore it, and they bought me a more stylish helmet. Even when I removed the propeller from my old helmet's top, the kids didn't like it. Anyway, it was time to prove that the salesman was telling the truth or that he was full of BS. While smashing the helmet with a hammer would have sufficed, it occurred to me that if the helmet was as safe as the salesman said it was, I could wear it during impact and feel no ill effects. What I appreciate about my brother-in-law is that he doesn't have any common sense either. We decided upon an impact of 15 kilometers per hour as a safe speed to be hit with me wearing the helmet. John suggested that we could swing a sledgehammer into the helmet with my head in it. I told him that would be silly. Here, use this gooseneck bar. As we simulated the speed over and over again until we had the right speed for the swing, I finally bent down in the linesman's stance, leaning forward, head parallel with the ground, elbows on my knees. Ready? I said a quick Hail Mary, and then BAM! The outside shell didn't break. There was no gel oozing out. I had bought a conventional foam-filled motorcycle helmet for a premium price. The wives came back just as we were pondering what to do next. We decided on another beer, and we had to explain with as much common sense and logic as we could muster up why we did what we did. The women, for some reason, were distraught, and all Carole could say was that she wasn't going to spend the rest of her life nursing a brain-injured, drooling, incomprehensible jerk that had to be fed through a straw. It never occurred to me that it was possible that this might be the outcome of our experiment. I didn't tell Carole that I had ringing in my ears for 2 weeks after this incident. The next time John and Mark came for a visit, the wives hired a babysitter for John and I. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been 3 years since my last confession. Through intoxication and poor judgment, I put my safety at risk, which might have resulted in my wife having to take care of an imbecile instead of an idiot. Would this be Gallagher? Asked the priest. It is indeed, Father. Gallagher, when are you going to grow up? Make a substantial donation to your local food bank and sin no more. See you next time. Go in peace. As bizarre as this incident may seem, it brought to light the fact that my heroes in life were not sports figures or leaders in our society, but rather those people that thought outside the box. One of my heroes is Antoine Lavoisier. I admire Antoine Lavoisier because, as his last experiment on Earth, he asked a friend to observe his head as it was guillotined off his body during the French Revolution of 1794. He wanted to know if the mind would still be active even if it was severed off the head, off the body. What's not to admire? He told his friend that he would blink as long as his mind was active. The results were that his eyes blinked for 30 seconds after being severed off his body. While the results have been disputed over the years, no one has come forth to prove the experiment wrong. I suppose that no one wanted to stick out their neck. His family embalmed his head and put it in a glass display container. It has been with their family for 230 years, and he is still considered to be the head of the Lavoisier family.